Ladies and gentlemen, I am truly honored at the opportunity to speak with you today, and please don't let my absence cast any shadow of doubt upon the gravity that I place, that we all place, on the subject currently discussed in this annual conference. I'd like to speak to you about the fact that over 4 decades, leaders the world over have recognized the severity of destabilizing actors in the region. I would like to speak to you about the fact that with merely the utilization of household items and the manipulation of simple minds, radical fascism has time and again held the world hostage through acts of violence and fear. I would like to speak to you about the fact that men and women all over the world recognize that radiological weapons of mass destruction pose an ever-present danger in the hands of even the most noble and peace-loving nations, not to mention those that have proven themselves far less responsible. For over 40 years, the world's leading nations have shaken their heads and wrangled their fists at the threat of a proven instigator with nuclear capabilities. Ideas have been volleyed about like a ball at last week's US Open. Sanctions have been put down and raised up enough times to make even the most seasoned sailor seasick. Yet, what has changed? Where are we? How much more certain are we? How knowledgeable are we, truly, of all intentions in the region? Are we really any more knowledgeable today than we were 50 years ago? Today, those who still wish to hold the world hostage do so not only through the specter of radiological chaos, but also through the all too intimate threat of cyber attacks, ballistic missiles, and deadly drones. The perpetration of senseless rhetoric and the enlistment of malleable minds puts every single one of us at risk in multiple ways. Those who seek to disrupt life have proven the ability to do so, no longer limited to simple acts of baseless violence, such as random shootings, improvised explosive devices, or borderless assassinations. Their harassments extend to the obstruction of trade, travel, and the most basic freedoms, regardless of where you live and where you are. Innocent and unrelated people now have to concern themselves at any given moment, whether you're leaving a mosque in Manama, awaiting heating oil in Greece, picking up your family's dinner at a market in Buenos Aires, or in the case of Albania, having your most intimate digital information nearly exposed. And as for that specter of radiological chaos, it is all too real. Yet there exists the threat of such weapons of mass destruction, the likelihood that the use of such actions will not only be adequately thought out, imposing doom not only on the intended target, but throughout the surrounding lands as well. Equally as terrifying is the ever-present danger before it actually happens. As the world has seen, the mere mishandling of such weapons pose a catastrophic, multi-generational threat. But I am not here to simply lament about the threats and actions with which we have all come very familiarly with. Rather, I am here to call things for what they are. I am here to throw down the gauntlet, not only before the instigators, but before all stakeholders, be they near or far. But that gauntlet is not a demand for anything new. So much has already been tried. Everything has been tried, from accommodation to isolation. But nothing has worked. Countries in the region, with the assistance of global partners, need to work collectively to establish a security framework that will not only increase further cooperation, but will build a defense-based deterrence that can only be achieved through seamless interoperability. But even that alone is not enough. Communication with the aggressor is still necessary. That communication is the bridge by which peacemaking ideas traverse the rivers of strife and discord. But in order for those ideas to materialize into actual peace, they need to be reinforced unwaveringly, backed by that seamless interoperability. Whether or not operable WMDs are achieved may not even be the question we should be asking ourselves, but rather, what will be our actions if or when that happens? There have been competing schools of containment for decades, arguing how to prevent the weaponized destabilization, but virtually no discussion on what to do if that weaponization is reached. So what do we do if or when that level of operability is achieved? Can those camps so divided on prevention come together when looking at containment? Can the interoperability that I just described serve as that safety net to keep all parties at bay and the region stable? Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to bring all of this together, to test the resolve of like-minded parties and communicate a unified message. So let me leave you with this. As we move on from here, what will you do to bring this about? UANI has a voice, more listened to than most. How will you use that voice will determine how quickly interoperability will enable a truly reinforced message is communicated. Thank you.